Hello, my name is Maduranga and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show 7 different methods of animating a shape in Blender Grease Pencil. Please do note that I'm only going to talk about how to animate shapes and I'm not going to talk about how to animate colors, textures, shadows and other stuff. Okay, so what are those methods? Number 1, frame by frame animation. 2, auto-inbetweening using the interpolate tool. Number 3, object level transformation, layer level transformation using parent objects and bones. Number 5, by adding effects. Number 6, by using modifiers. And number 7, by using scripts. So this tutorial is going to have 2 parts. So in the first part, I'm going to cover the first 5 methods, and in the second part, I'm going to cover about modifiers extensively. However, I'm not going to talk too much about scripting. I will just share some links because I don't want to go into that area. Also, there may be more than these 7 methods. These are just the methods that I've learned from the materials in the internet. Please do let me know if you know any more methods other than these 7 methods. So let's get started. Okay, here we are in Blender. So the first method is the good old frame by frame animation. I'm going to press Shift A, create a new grease pencil object, a blank grease pencil object. First I'm going to go to grease pencil properties, rename this as foreground, add a new layer, name it ball, go to materials, add a new material, call ball, go to fill, give it a nice brownish color. Okay, now then go to draw mode and then start drawing the ball. Right, so since I'm going to do a frame by frame animation, I'm going to assume the ball is going to come to the peak at frame number 5. Then at frame number 10, it's going to end up somewhere like here. So I can enable onion skin option here so that I can see the previous and the next frames clearly. Come to the first frame and then I'm going to give it a bit of a squash and stretch effect. So first I'm going to draw a squash ball, then go to the next frame, make it stretch, something like this. I'm going to make the ball stay a little bit longer on the top, so draw a circle like that, coming to the frame after the frame number 6 and draw the next ball like this. Then come to frame number 8, or the stretch ball like this. So the frame number 9, draw the squashed ball like this. So if I play it back, this is a basic bouncing ball drawn frame by frame. So frame by frame animation is going to be very versatile and you're going to use it many times in your animation projects. Then let's go to the next method, which is auto-inbetweening using the interpolate feature. Right, so I'm going to delete these keyframes, come to frame number 10, then I'm going to go to edit mode, press G and move the object somewhere like here. And then what I can do is, so instead of adding all the keyframes, drawing on the in between keyframes, there's this option called interpolate in edit mode. I can select that, and what I can do is I can press on sequence, and what it does is it's going to add all the in-between frames for me without me having to draw each and every keyframes in between. Let me show you another trick which I can use to convert this into a bouncing ball. I'm going to select all these keyframes, enable the multi-frame button, and yeah, as you can see, it's going to show me all the keyframes here. So if I now press G and move the cursor up, you can see all the frames, all the objects are going to move with the cursor. But that's not what I want. So there's this other feature called use follow under this multi-frame drop down, and if I use that and use some curve that you like, you can actually move the objects like this. If I come to the frame number 5 and then press G and then press Z to move it in Z direction, you can see that it's gonna draw this beautiful fall off curve, this parabolic shape for me, so that I don't have to worry about positioning the ball correctly, and it's gonna do the animation for me like that. And let me also show you another interesting option. So I'm going to disable multi-frame, and then I'm going to come to frame number like 15. Then I'm going to go to sculpt mode, and I'm going to sculpt this ball into some shape like this. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm going to squash this ball onto the ground after it has bounced to this position, so like this. But I also want to make it look more organic. So how do I do that? Under interpolate, there's the sequence options, and yeah, you can specify a type of animation that you want. Yeah, so one thing you can use is this elastic type of animation. So when I choose that, and if I press sequence now, you can see that there is a small bounce afterwards. Okay, if it wasn't visible, let me redo it for a wider range of frames. Can you see? There's a bounce to the squash. Okay, so that's what I wanted to achieve. So basically what this interpolate does is it's going to do this frame by frame animation for you when you press that button. But note that for this animation to work, these keyframes should have the same number of points. So in case if it doesn't, Blender is still going to do a good guess and do these in between frames for you, but most of the time it's not going to end up so nice. So in the sculpt mode, you can sculpt the object into whatever the shape you like, then use the interpolate tool to add the in-between frames automatically. Right, let's move on to the third method. Okay, so object level transformation is simple. It's just like animating any object in Blender or any other animation software. So now we are in the object mode. Press N to get this transform menu, and I'm gonna press I to insert a keyframe and add a location keyframe here. I have to move to frame number 10, press G and move the object somewhere along the x-axis, and then I'm gonna press I again and add a location keyframe. Now if I press spacebar, you can see there's an animation. So this animation is happening not at the grease pencil level, but at the object level. So under the grease pencil dope sheet, you don't see any animations, but if I go to the dope sheet, which is the main dope sheet, you can see that there are keyframes to the object's location. So these keyframes are for the grease pencil object. So this transformation is happening at the object level. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about that. So I'm going to delete all these keyframes because I don't need them. Okay, now let's go to the next method of animation, which is the layer level transformation using parent objects. Okay, to show you that, I'm going to create a new object. You can basically create any object, but here I'm going to create an empty object. I'm going to create a sphere, empty sphere. Press S to scale it down, G to move it somewhere on top of the grease pencil ball layer. Select the grease pencil object, and then under the grease pencil object data properties, you can see there's a drop down called relations. So I can select this picker and pick whatever the object that is on the screen. So I'm going to select this empty object. Now if I select the empty object, I press G and move the empty object, you can see that the ball is moving with it. So to demonstrate it much clearly, I'll go to the grease pencil layer again, and then I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to call it bat, and then I'm going to go to draw mode, and then I'm going to draw that bat. Okay, not a good looking bat, but let's just leave it for the moment. So as you can see, we have two layers in this grease pencil object. One is bat and the other one is ball. But now, as you can see, when I select ball, under relations, you can see that there's this empty object which is parented to it, but the bat is not. So I can go to object mode. So I can select the sphere and press I to add a location keyframe there. Move the cursor to frame number 15, press G and move the object somewhere here, and press I again and add a location keyframe. Now you can see there's this motion which is happening along this x-axis for the empty sphere, and the ball is going to move along with it. Now what I can do is I can make it bounce by going to the graph editor, come to the Z location, come to frame number 8, and then I'm going to press I to add a keyframe here. Then what I can do is I can press G and move the object up like this, somewhere like that. And then I can select all these points, and I don't want the objects to start slowly, I want it to start linearly, so I'm gonna change the keyframe to vector, and yeah, so here also I'm gonna change it to vector. Yeah, but there's a small issue with the x-axis, because it's not just let me make it linear. Yeah, so it's gonna be something like that. But here's some additional features which I can add here. For example, I can add a bounce to this piece of animation. Check this out. I can right click, go to the interpolation mode, and select bounce, and look what's happening now. Yeah, so it's going to do this bounce automatically for us. So I'm going to move this somewhere like here, and let's give it do it like this, because the object is supposed to slow down as it move forward. So now if I play back, yeah, so it has some realistic looking bounce which I can add by this bounce effect, right? So yeah, I'm just showing you some shortcuts to create quick animations using Blender Grease Pencil. Okay, that's about parenting an object to a Grease Pencil layer. Another thing we can do is we can actually parent bone to a layer of the Grease Pencil object. To demonstrate that, I'm going to add a bone first. Press Shift A, go to Armature, create a new bone. Press G and I'm going to move it here to the handle of the bat. Press R, rotate it, scale it to whatever the size you like. And now I'm going to go to the grease pencil layer, select the bat. As the parent, I'm going to use this armature, and then for the type I'm going to use bone, and then I'm going to select the only bone that is there, which is this bone. Now look what happens when I go to the pose mode of the bone and press R and select the bone and press R and move it. Okay, so as you can see, there's a small issue here. So it has to do with the position of the grease pencil object. So for it to work correctly, you have to have the position all set to 0. Let me press N. Yeah, you can see that location X has a value. So what I have to do is I have to make it 0. So I can go to Object, go to Apply and press Location. And then it's going to give an error. Well, because there are parents to the grease pencil object. So to fix that, I have to temporarily remove this grease pencil parents. Right? Yeah, now if I go to Object and go to Apply and press Location, now it's going to become 0 without problem. Now, okay, let's select the ball and add it to this grease pencil and grease pencil object, and then let's select the bat, parent that to this armature and to the bone. Now press tab to go to edit mode, press G and move the ball here, and press tab again to go to object mode. Now if I look, yeah, now it's working fine. So come to the armature, go to the pose mode, select the bone, press R and move. Now you can see as I move the bone, the bat swings with it. So now I can add an animation to this by positioning the armature like this. Press I to insert a keyframe, add a rotation keyframe, go to frame number 5, press R and press I again and add a rotation keyframe. So now you can see that there's this animation. So you can see that already just using these options you can add some good animation to your characters and objects in a grease pencil cartoon. What you can do is you can create a character and in that character you can assign each part of the body to a separate layer. Say for head, torso, legs and arms you have separate layers, and for each layer I can first create a bone system, and for each layer I can assign a parent bone, and that way I can animate the character like animating a puppet by moving these bones. Okay, so that's the fourth method. Let's go to the fifth method, that is animating by using effects. Okay, now to demonstrate this, let me create a new grease pencil object. Shift A, grease pencil, blank, go to draw mode, and this I'm going to draw something like a snake. Okay, go to materials, add a new material. I'm going to call it snake. Add a color. I'm going to add a dull green color to it. Okay, just assume that this is a snake. Now notice that effects are going to affect all the objects in the grease pencil layer. So because of that, sometimes it may not be so practical to use these things, because you may only need to animate a part of the grease pencil. So using these may not be ideal for your situation. So under effects, I'm only going to talk about this wave, distortion and swirl, because everything else is self-explanatory and they have to do not with animating the shapes, but rather with colors and textures and shadows and stuff like that. So I'm not going to talk about them. I'm going to talk about wave distortion first. So if I select that, let's go to horizontal mode, and now you can see it looks like a snake now. So now let me try to give it a small animation. So I'm going to keep my cursor over this data field, and I'm going to press I to add a keyframe there. Go to frame number 14, press I again, and then add a motion like this, and then press I again to add a keyframe. So now you can see there's a snake slithering kind of movement there. And then I can go to object mode, and I can animate the whole thing from left to right. Press I again to add a location keyframe. Go to frame number 10, press G and move the snake towards your left side, and press I again to add another location keyframe. Now if you can see, yeah, it's going to be a funny snake animation. So the next thing I can show is this swirl effect. So for the swirl to work, I have to specify another object in the scene, which will make the snake to swirl around that other object. So I can give a radius as to how much it should swirl. I don't know good example where you would want to use this, but yeah, might come useful when doing some animation in the future. So that's about how to animate grease paints in objects using effects. And with that, I'm gonna end the first part of this video tutorial. Do give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked the video. And I will talk to you again in the second part of the video tutorial, where I'm gonna talk about how to use modifiers. Talk to you soon. Bye.